With the political season here, the primaries coming up next month, taxes and property taxes are going to be a big, huge issue in the upcoming election. And recently, some reports have come out that say property taxes are going down or property taxes are going up. It depends on who you look at and who you talk to. But I'll tell you this, technically, both are right. So how the heck can that be? Well, to kind of understand what's happened over the last 4 years and why property tax is going to be so critical is because let's bring us back 4 years ago. The legislature in the House and Senate turned Republican. 2 years ago, the legislature in the House and Senate turned Democrat. Both are claiming victory, and both are claiming they were the ones most responsible for the current situation we are in the state with a surplus. But let's really look at what affects property taxes. I'll try to run through this about as quick as I can because there are 14 things that affect property taxes here in the state of Minnesota. They are market value, how much your home is worth. They are the market value of the homes and properties around you. There are also the state general property tax levies. Now that affects farmland, that affects recreational property, that affects business property, not homeowner properties. There is the city budgets of each individual city, your township budget, your county budget levies, your school district budget, your special districts, these are things like watershed districts, special assessments, which are technically not a tax, but this is when they do street repairs and certain projects. You've heard us talk about the Washington Avenue project last week, the assessments those businesses were facing. That's what a special assessment is. Referendums that are passed, those could be things like local option sales taxes or school buildings. Change in government mandates, change in state and federal aid. You always heard us talk about local county aid, local government aid. Those are changes in that too. Lawmakers changing classifications and changes in laws that just affect your local tax base in general. The one thing you should notice with all of these is they pretty much have almost everything to do with government policy, with the exception of market value, which can be changed by depending on what happens with your government policy anyway. But if you look at Minnesota's tax code, there was a recent YouTube video that really pointed out these 14 different tax comparisons. It was done by the League of Minnesota Cities and the Association of Minnesota Counties. And basically in that report it said and admitted something that I think a lot of people have talked about in the state, that Minnesota has one of the most complicated tax systems in the nation. We have 20 different classifications for where things are going to be taxed. So am I going to pay more or less this year for property taxes? How can both people be right? Well, we had a $2 billion tax increase about a year ago. That tax increase, the majority of it went to the wealthiest 2% of people are paying it, and also the poorest people in the terms of the cigarette tax, and there are several other taxes in there as well. But according to a nonpartisan legislative report in St. Paul, property taxes will decrease by $49 million, but only for residents who qualify for all the different state aid and different tax credits the DFL legislature passed. In other words, you've got to do a little more work if you want to save. Without those different tax credits, legislative office, same nonpartisan poll says tax increases would have risen $124 million on property tax owners in the state of Minnesota. But here's also the other catch. Homeowners will get some of these largest reductions in property taxes, about $171 million for homeowners across the state, which is about 5.2% lower. But the owners of agricultural property, your public utility land, and commercial property are going to see their levies edge up. So the reality is both parties are right, which makes it very, very difficult to determine who to vote for if taxes are going to be your issue. In some ways, taxes go down. In some ways, taxes went up. But the problem is, do you have more money at the end of the month or less? I think that's how most Minnesotans are actually going to vote. Because again, property taxes are so complicated. There's so many factors. City could cut taxes, school district could cut taxes, the state does something, boom, it goes up, it goes down. It's so tough to figure out why your taxes are actually moving the way they are. Sometimes I think they intentionally make it complicated like that.